There's a story behind every song, but you don't always get to hear that story. I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and we decided for the next 2 EPs that I'll be releasing, we'll just sit down and have some of those conversations and tell some of those stories. Maybe that will give you some insight into some of the songs that you like and love, and maybe that will inspire you to just start having some of those conversations with your friends. My name is Chimera, and these are our conversations about hearts and minds.
So obviously excited for this particular song of the Hearts EP. ADONO. So I know when you first receive the music, you're like, okay, what is he doing with this? Then when you listen to it, you're like, oh, so that's what he's saying. I don't know. Like, I don't know. This is how we speak. This is how we speak. But also like,
so it could be I don't know, but sometimes you just want to say I don't know.
I don't know.
ADONO.
Like I don't even I don't know to the point that I can't say full sentences.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, the first thing that stood out was verse 2. You can imagine. Because I'm working on a document, I'm listening to this music, and then in verse 2, he says, you say that, the musician,
I've walked around.
Yeah.
I've walked around this. What do I say? I've walked around this mountain.
million miles around this mountain.
Yeah, I've walked 1,000,000 miles around this mountain, and I swear it's not the life that I imagined.
That line, and then the next
Another year goes
And
on,
then
deep
the
down
next
I
one.
know there's something wrong.
And then the next
All this time and nothing to show, but this life of a shepherd boy.
I say that's it.
Really?
That's it.
Okay.
What am I doing? And at first I thought, oh, he borrowed from the story of David because of the line of the shepherd boy.
Okay.
It's only recent that I realized that the whole song borrowed from the life of Moses.
Yeah.
But I just had that feeling of this is how I feel right now. At the time I listened to the song the first time, I say another year has gone by. We're in 2022, 2021 has gone by. I'm looking at all the years and the time I've invested in different things, and I'm like, I have nothing to show.
Right.
I have nothing to show for it but this simple life of dreams. And then so now I want to fight you because like, why are you making songs that are making me think these things? And so when I had verse 2, then I stopped and I went back to the beginning. I said, what did I miss in verse 1? Let me see where this starts from. What else are they saying?
And the way let me see, the way verse 1 starts. Interestingly, I think, and I know, yes, I wrote the song, so like there's all that, like, you're just talking about, but I like one of the things I like about this song for me is because it's real, but also if I switch to like the creative songwriting side, I like that it sort of, for me, it feels like we jumped straight into a movie scene, you know, like those trailers where it's like, in the heat of the burning sun is the shadow of a dying man. Can't go back where he came from. Slave to a prince, now a wanted man. And then it's like,
I can see it.
yeah,
I can see it. Yeah.
But that's, and I really wanted to paint that picture because sometimes life, like the story of Moses is so like, the seasons in my life where I'm like, because you thought it was going to be this way, and then now you're stuck in a world where you like.
But also the consequence, like it was much bigger than you could ever imagine, because like Moses, with all this potential, yes, you were raised as a prince, there was all this stuff you were going to do, and then one moment of anger, anguish, or just going ahead of God, and now you're spending 40 years as a shepherd. As a shepherd, and you're somewhere in the desert, and you're like, okay, is this it?
Because it's been argued also. Now, okay, let me take 2 steps back. For those who are not familiar with the story of Moses, then it's brief.
Moses of the Bible.
Moses of the Bible. So you find the story in Exodus, and it's Moses is the person who's going to be used to deliver the nation of Israel. So I'm just giving this for context. So he is born, and crazy stuff is happening. Kids are being killed all over, but he survives, and then he's the one supposed to save the children, so to speak, of Israel.
Because he wasn't like a slave like them.
Yeah, but so he grows up in the palace, and I guess all his life he knows I'm supposed to do this big thing.
But did he know? Let me interrupt you a bit. We say that because we know the story. We know how the story.
Well, we know his mother raised him.
Did she tell him that he was supposed to redeem the children? Did they know they were going to be redeemed?
I don't know. So the Bible doesn't.
In the near future.
I guess that can be like a best guess situation. But I know that he had a heart for them, and he knew he was one of them, because then he tells the gentleman who was the slave driver who was beating another Hebrew, like, don't do that, and then the next time he's telling them, don't fight each other, because he has the heart to help and essentially to do perhaps what God has called him to do. But then in a moment he tries to do it his own way, and in a moment of anger he kills an Egyptian slave driver.
Because his assumption was maybe it was going to be an aggressive way.
Maybe it was a purely accidental thing. But either way, his actions lead to consequences. And then he runs off 40 years worth of consequences. The next time we see him is like at 80 years old, when God is having this conversation at a fire. But how it relates to us today, and like I like that whole storytelling aspect, is because much like you said, sometimes we are like, I'm stuck in my own world. I'm sure, much like Moses, sometimes you're like, is this it? Is this it? It's like,
is there something I did?
And that's whether like you're young, old, mother, father, whatever. Like, I've met mothers who are like, I'm stuck in this. Like, I know I'm a wife, I know I'm a mother, but I feel like, is this it? Or a husband, like a guy who's going to work and back and work and back.
Is this all there is?
It's like, it's like, I don't know. Like, is this it? I'm happy. Should I, like in the second verse, like intimating, I know I should be grateful for what I have, and I think you
that line is very triggering for me. I'm like, oh man. So okay, I am like on the surface, I am one of the blessed ones. My life is a good life. I have a job. I'm healthy. I'm living this abundant life, and yet I still have this dissatisfaction that I am afraid to talk about, because then I'll look ungrateful. So maybe I should just be grateful, because maybe this thing that I have is
this is the thing.
This is the thing. I have my family.
But there's still that itch where like, maybe there's more, and like it's still like coming back to I don't know. And it's a genuine like, I don't know.
And I don't know was actually very comforting, because there is some sort of comfort in.
Because most of us, I come from the side of, it's very difficult to come to the point of I don't know, and that's why I wrote I don't know, because especially as men, I speak for men's side, like I think even all of us, we want to have a sense of control. We want to know the plan, but it's hard to come to genuinely say, I don't know. So what's your side of that?
It was comforting. Number one, I'm not the only one who doesn't know. If a song exists that can clearly explain how I have felt for the past couple of months, then I am not the only human being to ever feel this way.
At least the songwriter.
And
Moses, who we wrote about.
And whoever is his accountability partner who said this is a good song. Surely, I'm not the only human being who has ever felt like this. And then, if I'm not the only one who has ever felt like this, like maybe there's answers. Or if he doesn't have it, like maybe we can find it together. Like, okay, what's been your experience in your I don't know season? Like, what did you do? How are you handling not knowing? Because and it wasn't just not knowing. I think it was also a jadedness, because you would know, because you're part of my story, I had made a big move that was very difficult for me, and so in my mind I expected that the next big thing, I didn't know what it looked like, but like the next step after you've taken that big step you didn't take for so long is major.
This is in reference to your career.
Yes, like for work, I'm like, okay, I have changed jobs. It was difficult because like who changes jobs during the pandemic? Like Mwesigwa. But then I did, and then I spent most of 2021 asking, now what? Now what? I don't know. I kept saying I don't know what to do with my life. It's actually my Instagram bio. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do. And it was very disturbing, because especially career-wise, for like 10 years, I was always chasing something. And it was clear what it is I was chasing. This is what I want. I want to get into radio. I want to do this and this kind of work. Where are the opportunities? So I knew what I was doing with my life.
For 10 years, you chased this thing and like...
You chased it. Then I got things. And then I'm also like maybe in a transition as far as interests go. I'm like, no, I don't know. And I have not been in an I don't know space. I don't remember the last time I was in an I don't know space.
Yeah, and I agree. So then... And I wrote that also from my own experience, because also especially with career, because I also had a whole career transition, moving from like IT and then like what you'd call project management tools. and then coming into this place where like I've been doing this for the last 12 years, and I just switched my job. I just quit my job, and I sense this interest in something different. But I don't know how this comes together. And I can imagine that, yeah, lots of us will find ourselves in that space or are in that space.
Of I don't know.
And I wrote this song to say, one, yes, you're not alone. We can pick lessons also from the Bible. But also the important thing of like, it's okay not to know, but that has to be followed with a conversation with God.
Yeah.
And for Moses, that's the moment at the bush where God reintroduces himself to Moses and says, okay, so now I know the plans. Like, that's not where he says I know the plans, but essentially he gives him the assignment with a lot of clarity. Now you're going to do this and do this and do this and how and all these things, I'll be with you and all this stuff. Where until we kind of have those conversations with God, we're going to try to do things in our own strength. And much like Moses, we are going to make errors or have to deal with unnecessary consequences and get stuck in a loop. Because I feel for Moses. I'm like, this guy is 80 years old and he's taking care of sheep.
Sometimes I wonder.
But also the sheep are not his. They're his father-in-law.
It sounds like the 80-year-olds of the Bible are different from present-day 80-year-olds because...
let's just say, maybe, I imagine that there was social...
But then on top of that, he grew up as a prince.
Yeah, so you can imagine, I think he's a really best case person to look at because he was dealing with all the tension of like, I can't undo knowing the fact that I grew up in a palace.
Yeah.
And all this was in my future until this one thing happened. And how that comes to today, sometimes it may be a person that's dealing with guilt and shame, suffering the consequences of a bad decision.
Yeah.
And genuinely, we need to come to that point that says, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I think
I would like, but I don't know.
But I think sometimes, because it has happened to me personally, is where you feel like, do I get a second chance?
Right.
Do I even have room to ask? Because you are also aware that your decision was so bad.
Yeah.
That your mistake was majorly bad.
What do they say? These are my consequences and I take them. I don't deny, like I take it.
Take them, but they're heavy.
But they're heavy. Oh, but like, yeah, isn't there? And I'm saying there is. The Bible tells us there is hope. But that's why the scripture that ends the song, again, someone else's idea was like, I think we need to end it with that. I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. Because then it points us to the hope that we have. Like, I alone know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans to give you a future and a hope, a desired end. Yeah. So as long as God knows, I'm okay not to know.
Not to know.
Because he sees the end from the beginning. I can trust him. Because we're not designed to handle life on our own. Like our lives, we can't. And it's good to bring what I don't know to.
You don't necessarily have to know.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's sort of like a back and forth because I want to know and there's nothing wrong with knowing. But I like that I can say I don't know and know who to take it to. I'm like, okay, God, help me out here.
And it's also interesting that the context of the Jeremiah 29:11, that they were in exile.
Yes.
And a lot of people were telling them, this is what God is saying, saying, I alone know these plans.
Yeah.
And he's also, but then he goes further to say, but they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. So you don't, so when I say, you can trust that they're good. So when I say that I alone know, don't feel like you have to hold on to the seemingly good the other people have
it's not trying to deprive you of the architectural design. It's like, no, I know. I just need you to trust me that they are good. Trust me, I am good. So the plans are good. Bring you a hope and a future, which is very encouraging, especially in a world where we are required to know, but in all honesty, we can't truly know.
Truly know. And even the most intelligent haven't known what's going on the past 2 years. So. But then from pandemic to like career to family to like, this song could speak in different spaces depending on where you are. And either way, relationship and
if it's struggling with I don't know, it's still good to know we can go back to God and say, God, you said you're the one who knows the plans. I trust you, and you're good, so your plans are good. Please let me know about these plans. Or if you're not ready to talk to me about these plans, at least hold my hand and walk me through. Yeah.
And you're like, what do I do today, Lord? I don't know, but it's fine. It's fine because you are with me. No other reason. Really. You know, and when in your wisdom you see that it's good for me to know, you will reveal. And I will know.
And I trust you. And that's because then that's the sort of like that same moment for Moses, for God reintroducing himself, then we allow God to write our story. We hand over, we stop trying to scribble things down. We're like, God, I give you my life, do your thing. And he does.
I guess, love the song. That will be the last thing I say. I love the song because I relate, and it's beautiful to hear a song that just captures how you felt but have struggled to articulate for like a whole